Hello everybody, Storm here. Welcome back to Factorio. In the last episode, we built a Spidertron. First time I've ever actually built... Oh, that's an interesting icon on the map. We built a Spidertron, which is kind of the ultimate ground vehicle. This is a heavy Spidertron. It's a combat-oriented Spidertron. There is a logistics Spidertron, which... has a bit more storage space and a bit of a smaller equipment grid, but I went with the heavy one, right, that is more the military Spidertron. And it is outfitted with tons of rocket launchers, and so we needed to make some rockets, so I went ahead and added some rocket production over here to make rockets, and also to make nuclear bombs that we can use. So here we go. And that's been running. I've been running things off screen for a little bit, trying to address some issues, just trying to increase the efficiency of some production. I made sure that the modules that we need for a lot of this stuff are in the logistics system, and that I have logistics requests to try to just fill out. So I don't have to constantly go down there and grab modules myself, that they should, come to me instead when they get manufactured. And I've been looking at the research. We had some issues with, when I was upgrading a lot of these belts, there were some interwoven belts of different types that then broke, so I had to fix that. So most of the research should be up and running again now, though we are slowed back down again. I also kind of cranked up, just been doing some upgrading. I mean, nothing really new, just upgrading some stuff. Adding modules to things to make things run faster, that sort of stuff. Like upgrading all of this production so that... No, not all of this production. All of this production. I added modules to all of these... algae farms. And upgraded the paper production that is used to make our red circuits over here. Even though it still really isn't enough. Looks like these might need some modules. You know, it doesn't really hurt anything to do this. It will just consume the resources at whatever rate we can feed it. And we'll take the paper at whatever rate we can distribute it. Gotta be kind of careful here to make sure this doesn't... Yeah, there. Well, no, that can be upgraded. As long as they don't upgrade this... These can be upgraded. Okay. There we go. I mean, I can upgrade these to blue, but not green. I can upgrade them to purple as well, but I don't think we're actually storing purples. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at now. There is one other thing that I noticed. It's a bit of an issue that we're going to need to go take a look at and figure out. I kind of needed to start recording, so this is where we're going to pick up. Is that we are not making chemical science packs, and the reason why we're not making chemical science packs is because we don't have sulfur. So, we need to go trace down where the sulfur would be coming from and figure out why we are not getting it. Okay, here's where the sulfur would be coming from. Ah, that would be why, because we have prioritization towards the creation of sulfuric acid, which makes sense. Because we are short and we are backed up as far as sulfuric acid production is going. Because I think this is our only sulfuric acid production facility. Is this one here? Might need another one. We might need another one. What would be my total production rate and consumption? For sulfuric acid. Let's see. So how much sulfuric acid do we need? And sulfur dioxide gas, sulfuric acid. Okay. Production. We're making around 100,000 an hour. Let's just do a minute. No. No, this is range. We need to also look at consumption. And sulfur dioxide gas, sulfuric acid. Okay, we're producing. This is across the entirety of everything. So even the places where we're making sulfuric acid locally. 100,000 per minute. This is in a per minute. Can I make this per second? I don't think I can make this per second. Okay. So 1,000 per second would be 60,000 per minute. We're pretty close, but we're obviously not making enough. Okay, so if I could build a facility that could make 1,000 sulfuric acid per second, I could divert a bunch of trains to that facility to get sulfuric acid instead of coming here. So that might need to be a thing that we do. Okay. Because while the base is largely complete, you know, it makes everything we need to make, I still want it to run effectively before we wrap things up, right? I want it to be running as smoothly as possible. So let's look into what it would take to do that. Okay, so new production line. We want to make sulfuric acid at a rate of 1,000 per second. Okay, with 4 modules, that's 2 chemical plants. All right. We would need 1,500 sulfur dioxide gas. Methods of getting sulfur dioxide gas. Calcium sulfate, purified water. Makes lime and sulfur dioxide gas. You make sulfur dioxide gas as byproducts of various refinement processes, but that doesn't really help me. The other method is by taking elemental sulfur and combining with oxygen gas. Now, we don't need the sulfur here, and what we would do is we would basically... We wouldn't decommission this, but we would be able to divert the sulfur to being able to make research packs instead. Okay, let's explore this. Let's see, how much does this make? 50 sulfur dioxide gas. This makes 60 sulfur dioxide gas. Alright. Lime as a byproduct of 30 per second. I don't know if there's anywhere we need that, but let's just... Oh, this needs 300 per second fluoride ore? Forget that noise. Okay. Never mind then. And we're going to assume this is going to be using maximum modules on everything. Okay. The sulfur. What are the ways we can get sulfur? Sodium sulfate can be broken into sodium and sulfur. Hydrogen sulfide gas can be broken down into sulfur. Sulfur dioxide gas. Part of the paper making process. Sulfuric wastewater. Yeah, because normally we use the coal to coke process to make the sulfuric wastewater that we then use to make our sulfur and just deal with the byproducts. So I would need like a large coal patch. Not impossible. Let's see. Sodium sulfate. Where does that come from? Brown liquor, sodium hydroxide, creates sodium sulfate and nitric wastewater. Huh. Dichromate. Where do you get brown liquor? It's a way of making cellulose pulp. Water, ammonia gas, pulping liquor. No. Yeah, I think again the most straightforward method is going to be coke. Well, we need to do this, right? The water purification. And then we need sulfuric wastewater. With the speed modules, like, it's not unreasonable, the size of the facility. We need 100 crushed coal. It's 100 per second. That would need to be 2 belts. So actually, we would probably want 4, 4, 8. Then we would need 50 per second coal, which is not hard at all. Ten electric mine drill 4s. Can we put modules in the electric mine drills? I don't even think we really need to. 38.5 per second regular water. We can send some of that through. We would need purified water. We're going to produce some out of this. Let's see, we would need a little over 3,000 purified water. So we would need something like, yeah, 5 hydro plant 3s initially. Which means we would, each of these would need probably 2 water pumps. All right. Let's go find a spot that this would work in. And figure out, where did I... Oh, I need to walk all the way back down there. Okay. Preferably somewhere where we have existing infrastructure as well. Alright, let's take a look. Here we have a large coal facility. We have existing infrastructure. So this would be perfect, actually. This would actually be perfect. What we would just need is another loading bay. Now the problem is there's no parking here. That's an issue. So I'd only really be able to efficiently send 2 trains down here. Unless I cascaded this. So we put in some parking here, specifically for the trains going to the... Yeah, because that could work, right? Because this will let the train in here. It'll come through here. It'll slide in here, and we'll do the parking here. Yeah, I think that could work. Let's see. 6. Let's put in 8. Double loading. Perfect. All right. And then we would just need to connect like that. Alright, so what we would then need to do is we would need to straighten out some of the coastline here. Okay. And then we would need to do, what did I say? 5 hydroplant 3s with modules. Unfortunately, it's not really efficient. There's one other thing that... Yeah, alien artifact explosive is my issue here. But at least we can get them placed in, right? Okay. Five of those. Now, how much saline? The saline water outputs could probably be tied together, but the purified water outputs would have to go into individual tanks, each of which kind of tied together and diverted where they need to be. Which is fine. The issue is they only have single inputs. Well, what we would need then is we would need a tank directly connected that has multiple inputs. So we would need a tank like this. Connected like that. And something like this. I'll just fill the rest of this in myself. There we go. All right, here's the saline water outputs. So for clarification, we're probably going to need 1 clarifier for each. So we'll need 5 clarifiers. To handle the saline water. Now, do we actually... we need saline water here. Okay. Then let's do this. Let's run saline water into a tank. To run there. And then we'd have an overflow valve, of course. We could do it there. We need to find a spot for 5 of these. 1, 2. Oh, there's still water there. Okay. There we go. That should produce all of the purified water that we're going to need. Of course, we need it still in a tank. Actually, no. Let's not use these tanks. Let's use these tanks. Let's get some logistics coverage here. And then we're going to need power out here. Where did my pumps go? Where did it put my pumps? There they are. Now, each of these needs a maximum installation of modules. Alright. House is not getting power. Alright, there we go. That'll solve the purified water problem. Now we're actually going to need one more water pump. With an inline tank and a pump like this to supply water for the mines. Right, because we need to route a water line. How are we missing a pump for? Okay, well, I'm not sure why we're missing a pump 4, but there we go. Okay, so yeah, next thing we want to do is we need to get the mines in. Let me just at least get... Oh, of course it's going to do that. Of course I lined it up. Oh, and that's going to be... No, we don't want to go that direction. We want to come down here. That's where all of the tanks for the actual acids are going to be. All right. That will get our water over to where the mines are going to be. Alright, but this is where we'll go ahead and stop for now. I hadn't anticipated doing this, but you know what? It's what we need to do, is what we need to do. Alright, so for now, we'll stop here. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and comment, and I will see you next time.